potential of voice technologies across consumer experience, content marketing, and advertising use cases. I am Rudrashish Nag from MMA India and your host for today. But before we get to the session, let me share a little bit about MMA and its purpose as a global not-for-profit trade body through a short video.
Welcome to MMA Global. MMA Global is a not-for-profit global trade body enabling pioneering marketeers to architect the future of marketing. MMA's mission is to enable marketeers to drive innovation, enduring business value, and stronger consumer engagement in an increasingly dynamic and connected world. Our strategic priorities are inspire and educate, enhance capability, measurement and growth frameworks, and advocacy. MMA is governed by an august and experienced board across markets in North America, Latin, EMEA, and APAC, and is present in 15 countries. We are a 800+ members strong community globally. Let's now look at our global think tanks. Now let's take a look at MMA India footprints. MMA India's member network comprises of organizations from across the ecosystem, being true to its philosophy of collaborating with all stakeholders to drive adoption at scale. Taking a look at the MMA India AMP community, which stands for Accelerating Modern Marketing Practices, is the perfect mix of industry experts and opinion leaders who have joined forces to further accelerate and evangelize modern marketing capabilities and know-how through councils and work streams. Now let's understand why become a member of MMA. Our programs and membership has remarkable benefits and privileges. Here are some of them. Join MMA India councils and drive industry growth by taking part in the development and execution of their charters. Access gated content on MMA's website. Leverage and participate in events to educate, evangelize, and network. Lead industry discussions and get recognized for your thought leadership. Contribute and author industry reports, white papers, and share POV as well as case studies in our newsletters. Also publish your company news or research, etc. on the MMA website. And there is more to MMA India membership. Become a pre-screener or jury at Smarties Awards, a global awards lineage platform. Be a part of our training programs as faculty or student. In an environment as dynamic as ours, having a partner by your side is essential to your success. And for that, MMA is your go-to industry partner. Don't miss the MMA India must-download industry toolkits which can help ensure business success. To know more, visit www.mmaglobal.com. Email us at mmaindia@mmaglobal.com.
The link to this video is also available in the chat box in case you want to view the same. Well, now now is the big moment we have all been waiting for to unveil with all of you and on behalf of MMA, GroupM, and Amazon, the essential guide to audio and voice marketing. Well, that was the unveil of there was a short animation unveiling the playbook. And just to call out some highlights, this playbook also contains insights from a study conducted with 150+ experts, which is a mix of marketeers and agency professionals. and thus making this a very wholesome toolkit. Be the first to access this exclusive playbook by scanning the QR code that you see on the screen here, or you can also download it from the link which is on the chat window. We will also send you a recap of this report once this session is over, and it will go to all those who are attending today and all those who registered for it. I would also like to highlight here and take this opportunity and talk about and tell you about our very active voice and audio council, which you see on the screen currently. And this is yet another initiative from them with active participation from our council members who have led this entire exercise to bring out this playbook. But before we begin this panel discussion, I would like to invite Niraj Ruparel, who is head of mobile and emerging tech at GroupM, and also the session moderator for today, to walk us through the playbook's key highlights and takeaways.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to be here and to be decoding our latest playbook, which is the essential guide to voice and audio marketing. Let me just give you a quick heads up on the landscape. As we are already seeing, millions of Indians today are benefiting from the ways in which voice technologies have broken barriers of language and education. Voice technologies are increasingly becoming a big part of our lives, be it voice searches or usage of voice assistant in gathering information or controlling home appliances, or completing commerce transactions through interactions with smart speakers or relaxing through music streaming. Indian brands have shown resilience in experimenting with voice technologies for building engaging experiences. But in general, awareness of voice technologies and voice mediums for reaching consumers is low. MMA, GroupM, and Amazon have come together to launch this playbook on the voice landscape in India, titled The Essential Guide to Voice and Audio Marketing. This playbook covers the voice technology globally and in India. It also gives you a deep dive on profile of audio audiences, marketers' outlook on potential of voice and audio, recommendations for brands on how to optimally leverage voice technologies to build superior experiences for consumers. Playbook aims at helping digital community understand the potential of voice technologies through consumer CX, content marketing, advertising use cases. So let's go through key highlights of the playbook. Almost half of global population is now estimated to be using voice technologies, mainly through devices like smartphones, smart devices, or for music streaming, controlling appliances, voice searches, and the list is endless. This trend is democratic and happening across developed and developing nations and regions. Next up, in India, we estimate the usage of voice technologies to exceed 150 million monthly users. The rapid growth in penetration of internet and smartphones has ensured that Bharat is now leveraging voice search in their daily lives. Audio streaming and podcasting is becoming popular amongst the youth. Music streaming is second most accessed online content in India after social media in terms of time spent, which is amazing. The usage of smart and connected devices is being led by affluent urban households in metros, tier 1 cities in India. Smartphones is an affluent consumer cohort of relevance for premium brands. We've seen multiple examples of voice technologies being leveraged to create immersive consumer engagements across industries in India. The playbook carries such examples of FMCG, QSR, banking, automotive, and few other sectors. One of the most epic use of such technology, which we are super proud about, is the work by our operating companies, Ogilvy and Wavemaker for Mondelez, where Cadbury's leveraged voice synthesis technology and AI to mass-engaged retailers who hyper-personalized ad featuring Bollywood superstar Shah Rukh Khan. 40 different voice models of Shah Rukh Khan were created. Cadbury also launched a microsite where retailers could input their location, store categories, store names, their contact details, and the personalized video ad featuring Shah Rukh Khan was then shared with them as an MP4 file through WhatsApp, thus enabling huge retailers to make their own ads. In another example, Pizza Hut partnered with Mindshare and Ghana, the music app, to run a voice ad campaign, which included integration of voice AI on audio inventory, along with time-band communication, creating two-way conversations between users and the brand. This campaign delivered superlative engagements as well, upwards of 8%. We conducted a study to understand and compare audio users versus non-audio users. This online survey was conducted in November 2022 across 36 Indian cities amongst 2,600 urban internet users. Cohorts studied were non-audio internet users, those use internet but don't stream audio, use voice assistant speakers, etc. Online audio users, those who stream audio using internet through apps like Spotify, JioSaavn, Gaana, Wink, but not use smart devices and voice assistants, right? Connected audio users, those who use smart speakers, smartphones to stream audio control devices, and those who use smart devices, which is voice-controlled, voice-enabled devices. It was found that online audio users are in general younger, better educated, more affluent than average internet users. Online audio users have relatively higher consumption propensity across products and services. Online audio users are also likely to own, consume products and services like air purifiers, dishwashers. Connected audio users, which is smart speakers and assistant, is an even more premium cohort than audio users. This playbook also contains insights from a study conducted with 150 plus Indian marketers, agency professionals to understand their outlook on audio marketing. Highlights from the study include 80% of digital industry professionals are aware of audio advertising, but only 40% use it. 90% are willing to learn more about available audio advertising solutions and more so experiment with innovations. The third section of playbook contains recommendations for marketers on how to go about their voice strategy. Understand audio consumption behavior for your target group, identify use cases in consumers' daily life, build two-way conversations and experiences. The playbook also covers the advantages of connected audio advertising around delivering access to premium audiences, building immersive two-way experiences. For example, brands can leverage Alexa solutions to build custom experiences around themes like Valentine's Day. Brands can also sponsor experiences like Alexa Original Musics. In-stream audio inventory is also available to engage music streamers. The playbook ends with identification of key trends, which will mark the growth of and will disrupt voice technologies in India, be it conversational marketing or use of artificial intelligence, machine learnings to mass personalize or ambient intelligence.
Niraj, if you could. You are on mute, Niraj.
Oh, I went on mute. All right, everyone. So thank you so much for all the love for my clone. It's very, very popular in the industry now, running so many keynotes, and very, very excited that today we are unveiling this, the entire audio playbook with the use of this voice synthesis technology. I mean, a lot of you guys, my colleagues and a lot of my clients, I can see you guys on call. And most of you guys are aware that I've been creating my clones. This is the 7th version of my clone, by the way. The first one was being created good 2.5 years back, where the lead time to create a clone was 10 hours. So I had to actually keep the script up there on the main screen and keep reading it to create my clone output. Now we have brought it down to 5 minutes. And now something which I'm really excited about is the language models which I have added to my clones. So now watch my clone speaking in Tamil, Malayalam, Bengali, and Marathi. Rudra, can we show them the output? Yeah, here you go.
एयर मार्केटिंग और विज्ञापन की दुनिया में आपका स्वागत है, जहां तकनीक उद्योग के भविष्य को आकार दे रही है। हाल के वर्षों में एआई ने व्यवसायों के ग्राहकों तक पहुंचने और उनके साथ जुड़ने के तरीके में क्रांती ला दी है. एआय विपणन आणि जाहिरातींच्या जगात आपले स्वागत आहे, जिथे तंत्रज्ञान उद्योगाचे भविष्य घडवत आहे. अलीकडच्या वर्षांत एआय व्यवसाय त्यांच्या ग्राहकांपर्यंत पोहोचण्याच्या आणि त्यांच्याशी संलग्न होण्याच्या पद्धतीत ക്രാന്തി സാങ്കേതികവിദ്യ വ്യവസായത്തിന്റെ ഭാവി രൂപപ്പെടുത്തുന്ന എഐ മാർക്കറ്റിംഗ് ഇന്ത്യയും പരസ്യത്തിന്റെയും ലോകത്തേക്ക് സ്വാഗതം. സമീപ വർഷങ്ങളിൽ ബിസിനസ്സുകൾ അവരുടെ ഉപഭോക്താക്കളുമായി എത്തിച്ചേരുകയും അവരുമായി ഇടപഴകുകയും ചെയ്യുന്ന വിധത്തിൽ এআই বিপ্লব সৃষ্টিച്ചു. এআই বিপণন এবং বিজ্ঞাপনের জগতে স্বাগতম, যেখানে প্রযুক্তি শিল্পের ভবিষ্যৎ গঠন করছে. সাম্প্রতিক বছরগুলিতে এআই ব্যবসাগুলি তাদের গ্রাহকদের কাছে পৌঁছানোর এবং তাদের সাথে জড়িত হওয়ার পদ্ধতিতে বিপ্লব করেছে.
All right, that's the language model, and that's how powerful this is going now. Next. What I love about this entire space is, imagine now a scenario where you get into contextual ads. All the popular celebrities which you have, a lot of brands have got these very, very popular celebrities. Now imagine a scenario where Shah Rukh Khan is in Karnataka, running an audio ad in Kannada, talking to you where exactly you are with multiple parameters. So they can be like, the entire world will open up in terms of personalization, market level conversations, which this tech stack is going to drive. And it's closer to us. So you heard my clone. With 7 odd iterations, if I can crack this and I can build language models, which is currently about 7 or 8 languages is what we have mastered. And you can see it live. So it's going to go more powerful with time. And with generative AI and contextual ads, we are planning to roll out something really mesmerizing in at least 2 or 3 months down the line. There's a lot of full stack solution coming your way on voice. So completely look forward to that voice revolution. So today we are here to talk to, I think my clone did a brilliant job in terms of unveiling the playbook. You guys must have gotten a heads up in terms of what can you expect from that playbook. So do go ahead, download the playbook. It's here, voice is here to stay, and it here's to grow basically northwards. And there are a lot of use cases which are evolving in the voice space. Now, me and I would say Dilip on the call. Guys, if you could all invoke your cameras, I would love to see you all first and welcome you all. Hello, Dilip.
Hey, Niraj.
Hi, Moneka. Hi, Shivani. I can see you, Ankur, now. How are you guys?
Super. I hope you saw the smileys and hearts that came flying.
Oh, yeah, it was
Oh,
all,
and they're still
popping in.
coming.
I can still
Joy.
see hearts popping in. So thank you so much for that love. And this is the era which we are moving towards, right? So I get all my mundane work. My clone is doing right now. So as we speak, there is a client workshop which is running where my team is using my clone to land some important messaging, and my clones are running multiple demonstrations as well. So if you are WPP with 1,500 clients, you need to create these kind of assets to constantly engage with your clients and other stakeholders in this ecosystem. So coming back to this panel conversations today, which is personally I'm super excited about. Me and Dilip, I think you would be the oldest when it comes to starting our voice journey pretty much together. I started it almost like a decade back, where I used to stitch solutions. This was an era where we used to stitch solutions more on telephony. So the KKT era, as we call it, 2013, a lot of solutions were getting built those days. And 2019, WPP launches this voice practice initiative. That's where Global, Dilip and me, we get hooked up again after that InMobi GroupM stint. And I get to learn a lot from Dilip in terms of how these platforms are evolving. For me, the world was all about stitching solutions for feature phone. And when Dilip met me in 2019 and he was talking about Alexa, and I was like, yeah, I've heard about Alexa, but I don't know what would brands do with Alexa. Slowly, the kind of campaigns which kicked in and the kind of love which I saw for this machine, which is unheard of. My kids, like our kids are pretty much living on it, right? The kind of conversations which you see and across age bands, like whether it's our parents, grandparents, my kids, the kind of love which Alexa enjoys in the Indian market, it's unparalleled. And we have some interesting stats coming your way. One of the stats which I keep quoting, and a lot of my marketers, I've done a lot of panels on voice advertising in the past. And I still remember Meghna Aparao making a comment on her parents calling Alexa Alaska and she should still respond. Or Dilip sharing that very cute video of your daughter, if I'm not mistaken, interacting with Alexa. And my son doing all the jing bang with Alexa, but he's upgraded a bit to Miko 2 now. And now he lives on Roblox with a limited screen time, as I call it. But he has his library on Minecraft. So these guys, the Gen Z guys, are adopting to the new tech and emerging tech, as we call, in a big way, right? and the love for Alexa is endless. So we would love to hear from you, Dilip, in terms of how life has changed. What is the kind of conversations audiences are doing with Alexa? What are the top trending skills? Last time we met, you said 1 million people had fallen in love with Alexa. What's the number now? Is it gone up to 10 million or something?
No, first of all, Niraj, great to be a part of the panel. Very good afternoon to everyone. I'm really kicked about this launch of this white paper as well, this playbook as we call it. Yeah, I think Alexa in the last 5 years, we're just going to celebrate our anniversary in the coming month. And in the last 5 years, we've come a long way in terms of what Alexa and what we call ambient computing devices can really do, right? I think the first thing is we have already today millions of customers speaking with Alexa in English, Hindi, and it's not just a smart speaker anymore, right? And that's why I say it's an ambient computing device. We have our Echo range of products, but it's also available on like our Fire TV stick, on the Amazon shopping app, the other devices built by our partner brands like HP and the likes, right? And it's not just a metro phenomenon as well. One good thing we've seen in the last 2-3 years with the pandemic and coming out of the pandemic as well, but almost 50% of our customers today come from non-metro cities, right? So this is not just like a very top tier city phenomenon, but it's across the nation, right? Also, the number of users in Alexa itself have increased by almost 100+% in the last 2 years. So it's not just again an early phenomenon, but here to stay, like you said, Niraj. I think from a use cases point of view, right? I always look at it as why Alexa first, right? I think we've always thought of, hey, human beings sort of always change their behavior to adopt to new technology. That's why our parents, grandparents find it tougher to use like mobile phones and have to get to new apps. But with Alexa and voice and ambient computing, our objective is to make technology adapt to the way human beings naturally behave, right? That's through voice and conversations. And that's why we see very obvious convenient use cases like music, information, which customers probably need at like, just with a voice command, being the most popular use cases on Alexa. You don't need to open up your phone, go to a search engine and search things. You could just speak to your device and it would have the answer in or the music track in a second, right? That apart, I think another big trend, I think you'll see more of that in the playbook, is the whole growth of smart home. So smart home as a category almost blew up with the launch of Alexa and other voice assistants, because suddenly customers could now control their device only through a voice command, right? You don't have to again go to a switch or you turn on your phone for it. And the same thing is, you don't even need a voice command. Today with ambient computing, your device will recognize your behavioral patterns and is able to change your lighting for you depending on how you set it up, right? So smart home has seen a big uptake. We've even launched things like Amazon Pay's capability on Alexa, where I, for example, book my gas cylinder, LPG gas cylinder every month on Alexa. Not just me, my house help is able to do that. Just say, Alexa, book a gas cylinder, right? It's as convenient as that. So, like I said, like music, information, but also these more advanced use cases like payments and smart homes are also becoming very, very popular with us.
So let me come back to you. I wanted to actually engage this further and ask some marquee use cases, some of which we have jointly delivered. But let me come back to you. Let me bring in Moneka first. Moneka and me, we started this journey way back when she, in her advertising agency stint in Quasar, where we were working on Colgate. So I used to come back with a lot of these interesting voice solutions. And 2019-20, I think we connect again. And when this initiative got kicked in by WPP, we connect again and we started this Voice and Audio Council. In fact, I was the first member of this council, which has grown so big now with all popular clients and all big names, all contributing to this voice and audio revolution. So Moneka, what are your views? Because you are not just working from India lens, but also globally. What are the top trends which you see on voice landscape?
Right. Yes. So first of all, this is a very interesting webinar, and I really like the way it's all kicked off, and those emoticons haven't stopped. So that's super. So clearly, you're right that definitely we gauged voice and audio becoming a potent vehicle a while back, and now we do see it getting much more prominent than what it was earlier. The trends that we're noticing regionally as well, because let's first get one context straight, that we are way ahead in this space than the rest of the world is, right? So even within APAC, India is taking the lead. and is really ahead of the curve amongst all other markets, and all markets within APAC are learning from India, right? So that's one big piece. In fact, when we released our regional state of industry modern marketing report end of last year, it was acknowledged that APAC is definitely a region where there's maximum understanding and engagement with the voice environment, and within which India is dominating, and it even quoted a percentage of 29%, which was basically the level of domination India had versus 14%, which was the level of domination APAC as a region had. And within that, from the study that we've done, even with this current playbook, after understanding and talking to a whole lot of marketers, like we heard 150 marketers and all the material that we've been gathering, what we're clearly seeing is a couple of key trends emerge in a very big way, and those trends will dictate the next level of growth for the voice and audio space. The first one being the penetration of voice in Bharat, which is essentially going to be a way to cut across language barriers, literacy barriers, and hence be a huge enabler. So that's the first trend. The second trend is the rise in conversational marketing, just the ease of being able to kind of transact through a conversation is very, very attractive and has definitely picked up. Again, there India is taking the lead, and as per the report that I was sharing with you about, it is already at 13% as we talk in terms of penetration of conversational commerce. The third one, which is a silent but a huge opportunity and is only getting bigger, is how voice can further enable customer experience, which is really sort of the next level of customer experience everyone is trying to sort of crack and dabble with, and where again it's about voice UX more than anything else. So building voice first experiences is where there will be a huge trend, kind of visible within the use at the back of voice technology for customer experience enhancement. The fourth one is on AI, ML, and Web 3.0, which are going to help build more immersive voice experiences, and they will soon begin to sort of become a lot more engaging and a lot stickier. The fifth one is the smartphones one, which we're already hearing and seeing enough of happen, and we're experiencing it. And of course, then there is ambient intelligence, which is the last trend that we're seeing, which it'll become as intuitive as we're used to seeing a lot of other technology which exists today in homes. So it'll become a lot more intuitive, understand you, and adapt to you. So these are some of the trends which we think are really going to dominate and take voice and audio to the next level.
So emojis, they keep pouring in. So I think everything, whatever you guys say, audience is totally loving it. Now, and as I keep saying that there is excessive love for assistants or machines in India, and the sonic character of Alexa is so powerful that people fall in love with the character, right? And the numbers, like Dilip mentioned, is constantly growing. So clearly consumer love is there in place. The consumer has woken up to it. There's a lot of usage across this device, but advertisers are not waking up to it. So, and then a lot of them, I would say if we have got 1,500 top clients, I would be currently sitting on at least 50 top skills, but that's not the case. So, and 50 top campaigns using this entire ecosystem, but that's not the case. So let me now bring in Shivani, because Shivani and Ankur have been like one of these early marketers who have actually created a brand experience on Alexa, which is now going to open up, because exploration was always a challenge with these skills. Once you tend to create it, you need to spend money to kind of promote it. So with the current offerings from Alexa and what the playbook is also here to decode, you would get access to these top skills, and you can actually come in as a brand and build brand storytelling in this space, which is going to be a mind-blowing experience with a lot of these emerging tech stack on voice, which is also building up to create mass personalization at scale. So let me bring in Shivani to add to the trends which Moneka just pointed.
No, thanks, Niraj. I think completely on the money. While you say that customers are loving it, and I have a toddler who's having a conversation with Alexa every day, right? Her conversation is, Alexa, please play this, but don't play that which you played last time, right? And I almost have to tell her, but I don't, because I say it'll get there, right? I know it'll get there. it's not yet there, but let her have the conversation, let Alexa listen and know that this is what is expected out of you, right? And Alexa sometimes comes up with real pearls which say, I didn't get you, but you're a very polite child. I've heard that. And I was like, it's gotten there, So consumers, of course, are loving it, right? And I think, as a trend, it's only going to get better, right? Because like Moneka mentioned, there's personalization, there's customization. In a country like India, it's definitely reach, right? Because besides vernacular, there are people who are not equally digital savvy, right? There are those who have don't yet have interfaces completely developed for them. There's a huge specially abled population, right? And all of these people today can be reached with voice, right? And voice is not old. Right? Actually, it's the technology which is bringing in this evolution of being able to create that deeper connect with the customer and a deeper reach. I think we as a brand, while with time reach is going to be the biggest advantage, I think today, because it is a young population and a more affluent population phenomena, right? I think that is where we have seen the maximum return in going with something like this today, right? Because we see that the young are very early adopters of technology. They're also not afraid of technology backfiring, right? So I think a lot of the older generations worry about, what if I throw something at it and it just goes berserk? But that doesn't happen with the young, right? They're so digitally savvy. We've also been very, very, savvy in terms of figuring the interest areas, right? We've always known that voice delivers a lot of music. It delivers a lot of entertainment because people are using it on the go, right? People are doing it to relax while they're traveling, while they're, in that sort of a mood. So when we've connected with our younger audiences, we've used these kind of use cases. And Dilip also mentioned, right, how they are a lot more prevalent, right? And when we've introduced voice, we've also realized that, it's a different medium. You can't treat it exactly like every other medium, right? So while it's a trend that you must leverage, I think the importance of that trend is to understand that you have to tailor make for it, right? So I think brands are waking up to that, and that's a big trend which they are understanding, right? Because you can't sound like a radio jingle, right? If somebody is in the mode of listening to an EDM music, then you can't go ahead and decide that you want to say, come buy because I have a sale, right? That can't be your integration, right? And I think what we've tried to do, in fact, is that we've released actually songs, right, which have been sort of creating anthems for the younger Gen Z, like you were mentioning, right? And we've gotten this integrated into playlists, etc., because the brand has established a POV, right? We'd done this even once, with the rap artist Divine, right? And we built something which was almost talking about how meaningfully the brand really bring something additional to your life, right? But because it was music, we knew that this is how they will be invoking a smart device, or this is how they will be listening, and this is their user behavior. It gets tailor-made to that medium, right? And I think that is a trend which brands really need to be cognizant of, right? So while the technology will just make this getting better, right? The usage is where you have to sort of build a unique story for yourself, right? Because you have to create that journey, your TG, your targeting, how they are engaging with the medium, right? And those are the trends which you really should look at versus just say overall trends, right? Because when you pick up a new technology, you should take into consideration how it's evolving for you and what advantage and objective it can serve for you, right? So I think that's a big trend. As marketing or marketers get more savvy in this, they will start looking at, right? And of course, the rest of it, as you guys said, right? We saw your own avatar, right? And that customization is huge, right? Because you're moving, and as marketers, we've always wanted to talk about cohorts, right? Larger population, larger sets, right? But in the last few years, we've all said how every customer wants to feel special. And I think every marketer is doing that trade-off between saying, how do I get out a personalized message and yet talk to a larger audience? So I think one of the big advantages for brands is also going to be cost efficiencies, which are going to come on board, right? So that's going to be something which will fuel this trend, right? Which will move it forward, because while you still don't create for each and every customer, you can make each and every customer feel special, and like Moneka rightly said, create that customer experience, right? For something as simple as service, right? I mean, serving them when you don't have business hours, right? They have always been costs in the past because you never see traffic high enough to justify manpower, to justify resources, right? But when you have an integration of this kind, you can actually do that and still not make your customer feel like you aren't available for them, because it's still personalized, it's still customized, right? So I think some of these trends will really grow because customers are looking for experiences, especially in non-commoditized sectors like ours, right? Where it's a premium high involvement product. Namely laptops, etc. So we definitely see these trends becoming a lot more prevalent as well. Yeah,
absolutely. I think, like you rightly mentioned, it definitely needs storytelling, and a lot of these innovations needs to be piloted and tested. Like when we did something for Godrej Easy, when we ran record number of creatives, 85,000 creatives in runtime. This is the temperature and the market from where the signals were coming in, right? Club generative AI and personalization, you can make those communications now more sharper. That is what I was talking about. Now look at this very interesting piece of product on audio which we created. So for example, every morning I am gymming, so I'm listening to my gymming music, right? That's very common. And there are these bugging ads which are coming in, but then I see some advertisers who are running really clever ads. So if I'm listening to psychedelic trance, the music, they will copy the music and then they will land a subtle messaging out there. Or when we introduce conversational ads, so ads would come in, they won't jack your experience. They would ask you, they would talk to you basically. If you say yes, they take you to a destination. If you say no, they would give you a clever answer and they would walk off, right? There are these crossbreed integrations are also something which we are working on. So for example, you go to Amazon shopping app and you put the protein shake in the cart. And if you don't buy that, next time when you are listening to gym music in the morning, the same protein shake ad comes back. You can see the sync. That's the kind of campaign which we are now designing, which makes also the lower funnel goals achievable, more on the lines of ROI and performance. So that a full funnel is what audio and voice needs to crack at some point in time. But yeah, brand storytelling on these platforms, especially most loved platforms like Alexa, is truly recommended. Now, bringing in Ankur, this is our third stint. We are working together on multiple brands. And every time I talk to you, I hear really strong perspectives. So what makes you experiment with a new technology, like the entire emerging tech stack? We keep discussing about so many other things. Voice is obviously one of them. So what makes you as a marketer take a call that, yes, this is something you want to go for?
Thanks, Niraj. Thanks. I find this to be a very pertinent question. And as a marketer, because whenever there are new ideas which comes our way, the primary reason we believe in terms of any new solution or technology must be adopted by a bank is primarily if it fits into the strategic approach, which is, answering 2 to 3 very basic questions. Will adoption of this particular technology help me improve my, the consumer and brand interaction? Will this solve for any particular problem statement which exists? Is it going to help me improve the overall efficacy for the brand? Doing digital marketing for the sake of it is not something which is relevant and right. We have to be very clear that we are doing marketing in a digital world. So this is where exactly, if I'm talking about use of AI, use of voice, use of audio, this is much relevant, because digital marketing has its own limitation. We have to understand the new age technologies, how exactly we can surround the consumer, more importantly, to deliver onto the experience, the desired experience. There are 1 or 2 experiments which we have done. Now these are very successful ones. We partnered with Alexa almost around 1.5 years back for one of our campaign, which was Chase Your Dream. Now over here we clearly wanted to enhance the awareness and reach at a time when the world was into lockdown. So it was just immediately after the second wave of COVID. Obviously, we thought about it, whether the campaign would be right or not, but Olympics was happening. Being the global, among the 13 top sponsors of Olympics, we wanted to leverage that opportunity and also integrate, more importantly, integrate with the messaging. So asking a question early in the morning about Olympics, which have been the erstwhile winners, how exactly, which are the participants from India at this point in time. That became a very relevant medium for us to land a question and start engagement with the consumers early in the morning. In a similar way, a second solution which we adopted or we used was with Spotify, which has in-depth data of what users are listening to and can be directly correlated to in what mood they are. So the moment we find a good opportunity, we understand in what mood the consumers are, landing a message and the resonance of that particular message becomes even more easy and important for the brand, which clearly drives us to how exactly the moment marketing should be done. So when I'm looking at the new age technologies, yes, we have experimented in the past, but the learnings are clear in terms of the ground rule or the truth, which is all about making things insight driven and data driven. So the moment that is there, clearly the efficacy, the result orientedness, the performance, the brands are able to deliver on that.
So let me bring in Dilip now, if you were to share some examples of how modern day Alexa solutions, which we are going to be opening up now, some use cases of how brands can leverage it.
Yeah, sure. I think Shivani and Ankur have already mentioned a couple of things which they've done from their brands, right? Like, so it's an entire spectrum, starting with like what you called out Niraj as well, right? What we call in-stream audio ads.
Yeah.
We have music service providers like Hungama and JioSaavn and Alexa. And like Ankur called out with Spotify, reaching out to your customers at the right time using these mediums during their music listening. And we have Audible as well. So that is like a very obvious one. I think we can start off with that. It is more belonging to the conventional audio advertising space as well. But there's also a chance to evolve and have a conversation with the customer. So like Ankur called out, the Olympic quiz that they built, or like with for HP, we built a separate, what we call Alexa Originals, a very niche separate property, which we partnered with a few upcoming artists, indie artists, and created an entire playlist, and which HP was a sponsor for that. So we can even create such custom experiences, or the work we done with someone like Cadbury's and Wavemaker, where like for Valentine's Day, they wanted to sort of give the right messaging for their audience. So on the shopping app, we built an Alexa experience where customers could have a conversation with Cadbury. And it could even, like you said, Niraj, go down to the bottom of the funnel and drive a call to action, get people to add a Cadbury Silk to their shopping cart and so on and so forth, right? So these are some kind of experiences. And we also have ready templates for brands who want to plug in, from quizzes to brand assistant to recommendation generator and the likes. And the last, we also done work with, say, Bollywood production houses, where like there's somebody is launching a new movie or a new TV show. We've been able to create a celebrity-oriented, proper conversational experience where you could be talking to SRK or you could be talking to Manoj Bajpayee from Family Man and have a conversation with them, right? So there's an entire spectrum from audio ads to very deep, engaging conversations. And brands can, I won't even call it advertising. I would call it like more owning that space, owning that conversation, and not just being an advertiser, right? So the entire gamut of options are available.
Good. I was actually picking up on one of the reports which said that when you crashed the pricing for EcoDot, there were like record number of shipment that happened in tier 2 markets as well. So what's the kind of penetration which is looking like for tier 2 markets?
Yeah, like I said,
how deep is Alexa going into smart hardwares? I mean, if you go on any e-com sites now, you would see Lumiford and you will see Lumiford with Alexa inbuilt. And you see this across the ecosystem.
Yeah, that's right. I think our sort of vision always has been to democratize this voice, right? Our ambient computing. So it's not just about Alexa being on Echo set of smart screens and smart speakers, but also enabling third-party OEM devices and manufacturers to have Alexa enabled into their devices. Like HP laptops is a classic case, right? Where on HP laptops, customers can use Alexa for doing a range of functions and making the laptop smarter and easier to use. We have partnered with smart watchmakers like Boat and Titan, where now people can use Alexa to check their heart rate. When you're running, you don't want to be operating your watch, tapping it thrice to get to a heart rate, right? You could just check.
Say, honey, slow down. You'll get a stroke.
Yeah, not if you're as fit as you, Niraj. Probably not. But from like laptops to smartwatches to speakers to set-top boxes, I think we're trying to partner with a range of device manufacturers. That's why I say it's ambient computing, because you're not restricted to only one kind of medium. From even apps as well, from your Prime Music app to the shopping app, like millions of customers nowadays ask Alexa on the Amazon shopping app. They're able to search more easily. They're able to navigate to customer support more easily. So it's truly like always on and always there.
So like what Dilip is saying for our audience, just to simplify, a lot of you, because I know a lot of my colleagues are here, a lot of television media planners are also part of this call, was going through the list. Just to simplify, what Dilip is trying to say, that there are millions of people who are waking up to Alexa, whether it's through all possible integrations which they have done to make Alexa completely omnipresent. And if the top skill today on Alexa is Sanjeev Kapoor's recipe, for example, and if you want to integrate a Kellogg's story onto it, which is a direct fit, that's pretty much doable. That's what we're talking about. So let's just hear this use case from Shivani. I believe you landed a use case on existing Alexa skill for HP. Let's hear it from you.
Yeah, no, Niraj, like Dilip was mentioning, we had partnered for Alexa Originals, right? And like I was mentioning, Gen Z has this direct correlation with music, it being there. And you also mentioned, during this thing, that's the second most used reason, right, with voice. Yeah. And we found this direct fit, right? Because as a device, we're used for music creation. Right. Also, we know that a lot of our audience multitasks, right? Because while you work, while you study, you listen to music, right? And that's how a lot of smart devices are getting invoked, right? So Alexa on a laptop would be asked to play music while you're working, right? It would be asked to do that on other smart home devices as well, where a lot of our premium audience rests, right? So when we worked with Alexa on this, the brand was seamlessly integrated because it has a use case in the creation, it has a use case in the usage and the listening. And so when we brought Alexa Originals to the market, the idea was to have a seamless connect and not look like a force fit, right? Because it was our audience, it was our use case. It was also how the user was using the device, right? Because we do know that entertainment's a big one with Gen Z, right? So listening to music, streaming films, all of this becomes important. And that's why this partnership with Alexa and like a lot of the panelists have stressed, right? It's important to have that story because today our audience is very savvy, right? And they can quickly make out something which is a force fit, right? And then it is only a brand embed, right? It doesn't really do anything for you. There is no return on that, right? Because your audience needs to connect what the story that you're trying to tell with the embed you've created. You've given a great example, right? The Kellogg's with the wake up morning healthy breakfast recipe, right? And you build that in, and that's when it stays with your audience. Because one of the things that we need to remember is that very often when voice is invoked, it's because either the audience is multitasking or they are relaxing, right? And in such a scenario, forced embeds don't work, right? So what we also saw was that usage will go up, right? When when this seamless connect does exist, right? Forced fits will not work. People will not be able to pay attention because you're actually interrupting either their ability to multitask or you're interrupting their relaxation time, right? If you do either, there is no receptiveness of the audience, right? So when we did that, we saw the return come in by the usage going up, by people knowing that this was a connect, and the brand drove that. I think one of the very good indicators of that is when there is branded search happening, right? And you see that increase, right? You also, I mean, on the Amazon app, Alexa being invoked, right? We also did see people searching, and while this was present on a large range of our laptops, right? Both the originals and the usage of Alexa, right? We did see people searching for HP laptops with the functionality, right? Because one aspect was, of course, it was bringing them originals, etc., the ability to listen, but the fact that they also knew that this smart device is now available on the laptop. So we drove that as well. And you obviously then drive the fact that the brand is at the forefront of newer technologies, right? So you have to be clear about the objective that you want to drive and how you're going to measure the outcome. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think this art of storytelling on the voice space is super critical. And I think what's really important in the voice space is this entire, crafting the sonic DNA for your brand, the sonic signature. If you close your eyes and Netflix flashes, Netflix is launching, right? That's a sonic signature which they have cracked. Or the character, that's something which we need to work on. Like more creative agencies would now start planning or at least thinking on those directions, that how you leverage platforms like most love platforms like Alexa to build in brand storytelling. Now, when it comes to storytelling, and evangelizing new tech or any other thing in the space of, I would say, digital marketing, MMA and Moneka, they're doing a spell job. I mean, hands down, if you were to understand the pulse of the marketers in the Indian market today, it's just one message to Moneka and one survey which she rolls out. You get a pulse from the market saying that whether you are in the right direction or not. So I lean back on her for all the sci-fi innovation which I keep coming back with, that should I be pursuing this or not. So I think Moneka and MMA have been doing a great job evangelizing this entire space. Would love to hear from you, Moneka. How have you got this entire ecosystem together?
Yes.
And what are you doing? What's your secret sauce? How are you managing to make so many competing agencies, big techs, all work together in one forum and share so much knowledge, which is brilliant?
No, absolutely. I think that's essentially how a trade body should work, because eventually especially at MMA, we believe in bringing the ecosystem together. And that's the way we believe that, adoption will get accelerated and we'll be able to drive modern marketing at scale. So the need to bring the ecosystem together and to work collaboratively is an absolutely important thumb rule for us when we drive any narrative that we believe is transformative in nature or is going to lend more capability to the marketer community. Now, having said that, of course, it also means that we've been very, very lucky to have members like all of you on the call who are very engaged, very passionate about these narratives. And that's essentially how we're really able to get more done. Like as we talk, everyone on the call would have seen that the report has a survey from 150 marketers who have spent time trying to share their views and perspectives on how they see audio and voice as a medium and what is it that will get them to pivot. And based on those kind of insights, we try and build a lot of our initiatives and our roadmap on how we should be evangelizing in respective spaces that we're trying to drive. So for example, if it's voice and audio, the survey tells us that there is lack of awareness, there is lack of measurement capability, and there is a need to better understand ways that one can customize for voice first experiences. Now, with such insights, we are trying to sort of solve for it through a playbook like the kind we've released, which has a lot of these aspects and nuances covered. We are also trying to sort of make sure we bring it alive through a lot of platforms that we have. For example, we have Smarties, which evangelizes a lot of best-in-class work and sets benchmarks for marketing, for excellence in modern marketing. So at Smarties, we have a category which is on voice and audio, and which we have consciously introduced since the last 3 years. And India is the only market. Smarties is a global platform. India is the only market which has got the category, because we believe that this is one way where we'll be able to build a lot of benchmarks and a lot of inspirational work. And it has grown year on year, and more participation is happening. So there's a lot of benchmark work we're trying to build out through platforms like Smarties. There are a lot of toolkits we're working at. One of them we've seen today, and we believe that this is really a wholesome toolkit, has the best in class practices, has the right perspectives, the right use cases, and a lot of insights from the larger industry. And lastly, we are encouraging. So we, of course, like we heard Niraj mention, and initially even my colleague Rudra mentioned, that we have a very active voice and audio council, which has been championing the narrative with us for the last 3 years. And we have grown, year on year, brought all the right stakeholders into the council to help evangelize. And we're happy to invite more of you on the call to participate and grow it further. So this council is helping to evangelize the narrative with also a conscious effort. I'm also making a conscious effort to see if we can create more POCs, be it by offering more free trials or by helping the industry get connected with the right agencies, because that we've seen as another challenge. They don't know who would be the right expert to work with for voice as a platform. So we've tried to also enable a lot of those connections. So I think a mix of all these factors is what is helping build on the narrative, and we hope to do more with it.
Absolutely. That's a fabulous job, Team MMA and our council. Kudos to all of us. Let me invite now Ankur to round up our conversation. And me and Ankur, we've been having like a lot of these conversations in terms of the adoption of voice technology. How do you see this further getting enhanced, Ankur? and then we open it up for questions.
Sure.
We have about 7 minutes, so 6 minutes for questions.
So, Niraj, I firmly believe, that adoption of these new solutions will continue to experience growth. But as a business custodian, if I have to look at how exactly as advertisers, we would be more interested in terms of adoptions. Ideas is one thing, but more importantly is the data-driven insights, which clearly help us move forward on things with some amount of confidence. So I believe, in terms of whatever these new age technologies which are coming our way, these are very, very impactful. But obviously, from a business decision perspective, we need some category specific data and some relevant insights to be thrown to us. Because more there is data and more there is insight, the confidence in terms of taking it to the next level rather than only experimenting makes it much more easier for the brand custodian. So obviously, both the things work in together: consumer acceptance as well as how exactly the marketers use it.
You got 20 hearts on that when you asked data from Amazon. All right, so let's take questions now. Let me go to the chat window. You want me to call out the questions or? Okay, let me do that. Let's start with Niraj. Would you also give some insights on accuracy rates in languages? It's seriously accurate. Yeah? I'm seeing about 60-70% accuracy on regional. Hindi and English is fairly accurate, 90% plus. And you saw my models now. It's going to become better and better with time. With a lot of these generative AI intel, there is some mind-blowing work coming our way. And how can I grow my orders on Amazon? Oh my God, look at this. Dilip, you want to take that? How can I grow my orders on Amazon? I think we were discussing yesterday, click and the conversation with Alexa gets invoked. That would have been a brilliant example.
Yeah, I think the secret mantra is spend more. But, I mean, it is as simple as that. But I think it's a good question. I think there is obviously it's a marketplace, right? So there is competition. There are other sellers, brands who are vying for the same customer's attention, right? So we have a lot of avenues on the shopping app and how you can make your brand more discoverable, more sort of sharing the right message to the customer, not just on the brand detail pages and the category pages, but also, like I said, in the context of voice and Alexa. Now we are able to have Alexa on the Amazon shopping app. So you as a brand, if you can somehow leverage that either on your own pages or via advertising, saying, hey, let me talk to the customer about my brand. Let me leverage my celebrity relationships. Let me leverage the context in which they are searching for something. And that conversation can be converted to actually a purchase, right? I think Shivani called out saying they saw the searches for HP going up, right? That's a direct indication that doing work on this actually can lead to brand relevance. And over the long term, over sustained such engagement, also better conversions and better ROI.
Got it. I think I have a long list of questions to cater to. So let me just quickly go to the next one. And I love this because this shows that how engaging this panel was. Can connected solutions like Alexa help us build custom experiences with call to action created as per the use case? Answer is a big yes, right? So I would just take yes for an answer and move ahead. What could be some ways to use voice audio for B2B marketing? Who wants to take that? B2B, I think Ankur, you want to go for this? Because a lot of these B2B retailer app are now getting a voice search and voice commerce plugin, which is making these tier 2 retailers the experience inside the application. And more brands, when they're creating these massive B2B applications for the retailers, they are focusing on creating a super app out of it. And voice, obviously voice, AR, they are all going as an engagement levers, which audiences are kind of, especially on the retailer segment, I've done a couple of projects and I'm seeing the adoption rate is very high.
That's right. So, I think one is in terms of adoption, as you rightly said, engaging with dealers. So there are one or two aspects on which in a category like ours, which is into tires, while it is very, very low engaging for consumers, for the dealers, it's their bread and butter.
Yeah.
Now, there are two aspects in terms of claims as well as in terms of, how exactly the servicing has to happen post warranty. So on those two areas, if we are able to create voice related modules, how exactly we have to train their manpower in specific regional languages, percolation of that information down to, to the last mile, that becomes very, very easy. So that's how exactly we are leveraging it internally. From a consumer perspective, if I'm looking at, while many of us are going across on Google and searching for which exactly is a nearby outlet, there are many such consumers who are looking actually for voice search. So voice clearly is enabling in terms of higher footfalls into our outlets.
Yeah.
And definitely, if we are able to solve for those questions, the way we are doing it right now in print on Quora, possibly, the conversions in terms of understanding about the category would be even higher. So these are some of the ways we are working. I'm sure there are many categories which would be experimenting with this.
Perfect. Yeah, that is what it is. I think there's a constant need to start creating voice output as well. So there's a lot of input coming in from voice, and what marketers are currently giving them is a text destination or a video destination. So there's a need to match the input with the output. If consumer gives you an input on voice, you need to really seriously invest on voice output as well. That's the need of the hour. Okay, let's just go next. What kind of consumer segment categories is effective for audio advertising? Who wants to take that? It's there in the playbook though, but who wants to take this? What kind of consumer segments categories is effective for audio advertising? I'm sounding like Mr. Bachchan, but that's what the question is.
I can take a shot at it. I think the better way to frame that question would be, what kind of advertising is suited for that consumer, right? Like saying there are all kinds of consumers who listen to music, right? We cannot say, hey, there's only one kind of consumer who listens to music and hence only certain brands apply to them. I think there are all kinds of customers, and like I think a couple of panelists called out, right? There are variances in time of the day, the mood, the kind of genres you listen to. So I think you need to figure out what space does your brand want to play in, and then look at that kind of playlist or time of the day or whatever targeting you want to do.
Yeah, Shivani, you want to add to it?
Yeah, Niraj, I think, it stems from the fact that people do these experiments and then they find that it hasn't worked for them, right? I would say, why is there a category for which it should not work, right? Typically because you haven't built a journey to be able to understand the impact. Right? Because usually how it'll be is that people will start looking at it in a very conventional sense, right? Did you listen to it and was there a click on my link? Not likely. Somebody was probably listening to music with their eyes closed, right? Or like you mentioned, you do it in the gym, right? What do you expect? Do you expect somebody, and like Dilip mentioned, right? You actually don't even want to look at your smartwatch and figure your heart rate. Then how is it expected that somebody is going to click a link and go build an action, right? So if you figured what kind of data or output is going to prove the outcome, right? Like I mentioned, branded searches, or I mentioned the people recalling, this thing. I think if you can build what kind of outcome will prove to you, there shouldn't be a category or segment where you feel audio will not work. Because like everybody shared in the beginning, right? This is organic. It isn't a technology which is new to us, right? From storytelling in the past to radio, right? There has been almost every kind of category which has worked with voice and with audio, right? To Ankur's point, probably a little more challenging on the B2B aspect. While its uptake can be very high, there will be segments that will show more response, right? And some will show lesser, right? You may see less with clients, but you may see more with retailers and things like that. But otherwise, I don't think that it is truly dependent on, the category product per se, but more on how the marketer builds, sees the response, and therefore acknowledges that it can work for them.
And to add to Shivani's point, basically we're saying that when anyone is in the voice and audio environment, they're either listening to music, they're doing voice searches, or they're podcasting. So at any given point in time, you're going to find your audience in one or more of these areas, right? So somebody who spoke about B2B may, from a content and marketing standpoint, find podcast more relevant, right? But somebody who's looking at targeting a certain kind of a certain cohort of people may find voice search or streaming more relevant, right? So it's really about which of the spaces work, but eventually in one of these three, you're going to find the audience.
All right, let me go next. Prashant says contextual advertising is one solution for personalization. Absolutely. Ulka loves all what we said. An anonymous user says, for voice assistant, what extent of targeting is possible? That's part of the playbook. So we would recommend you to scan the code which Rudra flashed and download the playbook. If not, I will bombard you on WhatsApp, the QR as well as the link. How can we use voice search to market our products on Amazon? Wow, question. Dilip, you want to go for it?
I think I've already spoken about how we have Alexa on the Amazon shopping app. I think this applies to this question as well, Niraj.
So it's about, I think the question is more on the lines of SEO on Amazon shopping app.
Yeah, I think this playbook has some bit of information on that. I think we can have a detailed conversation about this because there are so many nuances to this.
Perfect. Prashant, again, audio ads on web. What are possibilities, acceptability, and marketers ready for adoption? Audio ads on web. This question is not that clear. What are the measurability solutions? Anyone wants to take that? Measurability on audio ads is sky high. It's no more that we rely on, we have like proper third-party serving in target tags. Everything is pretty much in place. Plus the studies, the BLS studies to measure the campaign and the results out there. Globally, a lot of brands are leveraging original branded podcast in India. It is still catching up. Why do you think so? And how can Indian brands better leverage podcast? Question on podcast. I think I was reading a PwC report which said podcast is about 93 million in India. And our playbook says, and even my sense is about 50, 60 million odd in India, and it's rapidly growing. So the question here is, why do you think so? How Indian brands can better leverage podcast? Any suggestions? How Indian brands can leverage the original branded podcast content? This is podcast is a fabulous space for storytelling. You can actually curate content, blend in your brand messaging, and create something really powerful. I think Agreya and Awaz did something really interesting for ACC Cement. You should go and check out that use case. So this is like Agreya, the Hindi podcast is fabulous, the kind of content they curate, right? So sky is the limit. It's a creative heaven. You can do a lot of stuff on podcasts out there. As sellers, how can we use this feature on Amazon? Oh my God, sellers on our call as well. We'll come back on that. Legacy brands are little muted on adopting digital. Is there any trend to what product categories will be effective? The playbook covers that. So please download the playbook. What can be possible ways to leverage voice audio marketing to healthcare? Example at home pathology business. I love this very interesting use case delivered by one of your premium partners, Bolt, also our partner, Dilip, on for Apollo. I think it was for Apollo Hospital or something. It was a very interesting use case or a skill which was being built by them. So do check out that skill. I think for pharmacy and healthcare, there is loads happening in that space. In fact, look at Nuance, the entire speech stack, which is available in 16 languages. Microsoft acquired it, part of cognitive speech AI now. Government is doing some tons of work around it. Telemedicine penetration is sky high. So there's a lot of work happening on the pharmacy segment, on the connected speakers, also on the platforms which are speech driven. Anyone wants to add to this, please feel free.
And I think just to add, like at an earlier question on podcasting and this, right, I can almost see a synergy, right? If something like healthcare, which is high involvement, and podcast, which is also high involvement, lot of hours of listenership, I think there's an opportunity to sort of look at how can you be involved in more podcasts related to healthcare so that your brand messaging can be more relevant there. I think that's like,
this be a good space to call out the MMA voice and audio podcast, the walk series which we are running. You should definitely check out in terms of the kind of content which is curated.
We're happy to post the link as you talk.
Yeah, definitely, because this is some serious content, right? So while you are like traveling from your home to office, 30 minutes of content, power pack content on voice AI, or Dilip talking about what's possible on Alexa. And we'll get more of Dilip's time to keep running solutions as we keep landing more solutions with folks like Ankur and Shivani and other marketers, right? So, I mean, while you're on your way, just plug into MMA Voice and Audio podcast. That'll be brilliant to get all the updates from our council. Let's take this one from Swastik Mishra. It is a privilege to be land on this kind of webinar. Okay, it's our privilege to host you as well. How to use Alexa on advertising console. Can we get insights, reports for voice and audio marketing? Is it expensive to use it? Will it increase conversion rate? Amazon seller. It's a question from Amazon seller, Dilip. Do you want me to repeat that?
Yeah, no, I got the question. I think it's all there in the playbook. I think a lot of this is covered in terms of what can you do, what's the kind of audience, what's the kind of expected outcome you can have. I think it's all there. We have not yet.
And you also heard Ankur and Shivani talking about the outcome, one of the early brands who piloted on the platform.
Yeah. Right now, we don't have a self-serve play yet where anybody can just plug in and start advertising. We do it on a one case-by-case basis right now.
Audio ads can have influencer marketing integrated. I think it's a great question.
It sure can.
And there are so many more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazon Alexa thumbs up. As brand owners, what are the possible ways to promote brand story with Amazon? You heard 2 stories. There are many more coming up. And that'll be the wrap for today's session. I think we exceeded time by about 7 minutes, but we did a great job. Super engaging session. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much, audience, for your time. We will keep doing these jamming sessions. We'll keep sharing more use cases with you guys. And stay tuned to all the lovely initiatives on modern day marketing, which MMA keeps launching. And we'll be around sharing a lot of new stuff with you guys. Have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.